What is going on, guys? MMA Island team, we got the fight picks, and we got UFC 255. I think we're on the main card now.
Yeah, we
No.
just hit the main card.
Wow, Moreno Royval got snubbed there.
It's the feature prelim.
That's crazy. Well, yeah, go check out that free fight. I don't know why it's free, but hey, go check it out. But yeah, in this one, we got Shogun Rua taking on Paul Craig, the second fight. Rematch. And I think this is a really interesting rematch. So this fight is just interesting in general. I think the things that I remember about Paul Craig, Shogun Rua, is the first round where Paul Craig, the guy who's got one knockout, I think? Yeah, one knockout in 17 fights. He's got the one draw, so the 18 fights. And he's going boom, 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 and he wasn't able to finish Shogun Rua. And then what do you know? What did you score the fight? Did you score a draw?
I think in the moment I had Shogun winning the fight, but now that I look back at it, it should have been a draw.
Yeah.
First round is a clear 10-8 Paul Craig.
Yeah, I think I agree. It's probably a draw, but I like this. I like this sort of rematch for a draw, just because I know that the Lil Nog fight was pretty close with Shogun Rua. I picked Shogun Rua to win that fight as well. And then go back to Paul Craig, probably the guy who I don't think I'll ever pick again, that I hate that I ever picked in the first.
Gadjimrad and Tigilov.
Gadjimrad and Tigilov. Ruski brat, da skorva moj ruski brat, izvini. But I just told him I'm sorry because I'm never picking him again. So talking about Shogun Rua, man, it's an interesting fight just because, and this is one thing that I think people are going to be like, oh, well, he just barely got past Lil Nog. Why does he deserve the rematch? But I don't know, man. One, he didn't really have much to live up to. Just because you're getting a guy like you're defeating Lil Nog. Lil Nog is he's passed the train. And then you get Gadjimrad and Tigilov, who I don't think is UFC caliber, unfortunately. It's tough, man. I talking about this fight again, it's tough, man, because this is the thing. Paul Craig, I don't think he has knockout power. What we've seen out of him, I just don't think he has the knockout power. It's clear what he wants to do. He wants to take you down, and he wants to submit you. It's crazy to think that he defeated Magomed Ankalaev, obviously, literally the last second of the fight.
He should have waited.
Shout out to the people that picked Goes the Distance on that fight. It's pretty even as well. I think it's kind of crazy that it's a draw, and I'm not mentioning my UFC calculator stats. I haven't been doing it for a while, just because I'm kind of focusing on doing it individually on the UFC calculator page. But the UFC calculator agrees with me at a 50.2% chance for the winner. And who is that winner? The winner, I think, in my opinion, is Paul Craig. So the reason I'm picking Paul Craig is just because the last fight that we saw with Shogun Rua is, man, sitting at 38 years old. He's 100% past the train, as I mentioned with Lil Nog as well. And I thought Shogun Rua is going to be able to blast through Lil Nog. I thought he'd be getting a knockout, and it'd be like, wow, it's his first knockout win since, Tyson Pedro. But I thought he would get it done. I thought he'd get it done in pretty good fashion. And I know there was a lot of people that actually thought Lil Nog won the fight. I think at the moment I picked Rua to win the fight, Shogun Rua to win the fight. But yeah, I thought he would blast through him, and it went the distance, and it was close. So man, I think that's a main thing for me. I think if this fight goes to the ground, I think Shogun Rua is in some pretty deep waters as well. Having been submitted 3 times in his career as well. Not really in recent history. Last time we saw was Chael Sonnen in 2013. But yeah, man, I just think Paul Craig is pretty up there with his BJJ skills, having submitted some pretty good opponents. Obviously, Magomed Ankalaev is on the number 1 of that list.
That's a fluke. That's the flukiest win in all of flukes.
So hey, I think that he's probably able to get that done. I think this fight touches the ground. I think that's going to be the first thing that Paul Craig is looking to do, is trying to submit Shogun Rua. And we've also seen the vulnerability, because I think from my memory, and my memory is terrible, so don't hate me. I think for the most part, Lil Nog was kind of, I think at some point Lil Nog rocked Shogun Rua in that last fight. So yeah, man, it's close. It's definitely close, just because I think that, again, this is really close because it went to a draw the last fight. So it's tough. I think Paul Craig's going to be focusing a little bit more on the ground game, and I think he wants to kind of take control of that a little bit more. I got Paul Craig. I think he could probably submit him in the first or second round. So I will pass it on to Zach to finish it off.
Yep. Agreement train. There's been a lot of agreements, and we're keeping it going. Paul Craig is most likely going to win this fight. Now, first of all, I want to kill the narrative. I like to kill narratives. I want to kill this one. Shogun is past his prime. Shogun is shot. Oh, no, he's not. He has won 5 out of his last 7. Is that surprising? It's very surprising because that just doesn't sound right. But old man Shogun is a bit of a mythical fighter as he just continues to get the job done time after time, but that time stops. He got really lucky that Paul Craig gassed out in that fight, because if Paul Craig did not lose his gas tank and lose his energy and slow down, he would have lost that fight 100%. And I think Paul Craig was going a little bit too hard for the knockout in the first one. He had him up against the cage. He was battering Shogun. It was kind of sad to watch because, this guy's a legend. I think that he's going to take a different approach. I think Paul Craig knows what he has to do in order to beat Shogun Rua, and Shogun Rua knows that he can't really beat Paul Craig unless he's gassed out. Because I think Shogun's, yes, he's older. He's not past his prime, but he's older, so he doesn't have the same gas tank as he used to. So he's going to slow down as well. But I think Paul Craig is going to manage his stamina a bit better. And I think he's going to go for the submission instead of the knockout, because we know that's his bread and butter. We know that's what Paul Craig wants to do. He wants to take you down. He wants to submit you. That's his game plan in every single fight. I don't think it's going to change here. I think that he's going to go for the takedown, and I think he's going to get the submission because he knows what he has to do this time. He knows he probably should have won that fight the first time, but he got tired. You really think that he's going to take the same approach? No. He knows how to beat Shogun Rua. He knows how to, and he's going to. Second round submission.
All right, so we got an agreement on this one as well. Like he mentioned, we got a lot of agreements rolling, and hey, check out the other fight picks to make sure to check and see if we keep the agreement train rolling. But yeah, man, make sure you guys are letting us know who you guys got in the rematch. It's very interesting sort of matchmaking. They get one fight each outside of their first fight, and then they get the rematch. So they both win in the last one, so it's going to be interesting to see. I always love to see fighters coming off a win and see who can keep the win streak going compared to who can't, and especially to finish the question that was portrayed to us in the first fight, because it ends in a draw. So I guess we'll see who the real winner was, and make sure you guys are letting us know what you guys think, liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and make sure you guys are also checking out the other fight pick videos.